The full details are now emerging on the depth of the tragedy, the disaster that Biden has created in Afghanistan. This latest bomb attack, 13 American soldiers killed, most of them Marines, but 170 plus people killed overall, including women, including children. A lot of other people still haven't been identified, 200 people wounded. This was a massive attack, and it was completely something that should have been anticipated, and it should not have taken on the carnage that it did. Now, not only is the attack disturbing enough, but Biden's response to it even more disturbing. Here's a little clip from Biden's notorious press conference yesterday where he's asked a question by Peter Doocy, and just watch his body language.
Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question because before. No, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, the best of your knowledge? What?
I don't think that's the issue. Do you think?
Wow, instead of trying to answer Peter Doocy, Biden tries to pepper him with questions and then just simply drops his head into his hands. And I think that becomes a kind of telling symbol of the ineptitude, the senility, the vacuity, the sheer fecklessness of this administration as a whole. Now, to gain a sense of perspective, let's think back to the hostage crisis for Carter in 1979 and how that ended. Well, it ended, it turns out, the exact day that Reagan was inaugurated. The very day that Reagan was inaugurated, the sun came out and the Iranian regime released the hostages. Why? I think because they knew, in fact, Reagan had promised. He says, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, but you can be pretty confident I'm going to do something massive. And the Iranians were like, we don't want to find out. Here you go. Take your guys back. Now, the reason this is important is that what we've seen in Afghanistan now is the exact opposite of that. Or let's put it in reverse. Because when you had Trump in office, by and large, the Taliban was, they were fighting the war, but you had none of this disaster, none of this carnage. And the moment Biden got in, they were like, ha, let's up the ante. Let's take the country. They've got an absolute fool sitting in the office. He's not even going to know what hit him. He's not going to know what's going on. And sure enough, Biden shows no. So here's Biden. He's trying to put the blame on Trump, but it's really obvious that it was Biden and the sort of comical ineptitude of the Biden gang, these fools. I mean, these are people, by and large, I don't even think if they would know how to load a rifle. Jake Sullivan, people who run hot dog stands and run, work in bookstores are now advising the Biden administration on foreign policy. So what you have is the Taliban recognizing its moment of opportunity. And so, by the way, are all the other terrorist groups worldwide. You can be sure Al-Qaeda is like in a major reboot. Of course, ISIS is the driving force behind this particular attack. This is sort of ISIS-K, ISIS Khorasan. Now, what's funny is that the left is, of course, moving quickly to try to cover for Biden, and they're doing it with the rank, stupidity that we've come to expect from the media. As turning on the radio the other day, I see this left-wing guy. He goes, you got to realize there's an important difference between the Taliban on the one hand and ISIS on the other. The Taliban is dangerous, ISIS is dangerous, but ISIS doesn't like the Taliban. So this is sort of like a guy's like, well, listen, there are two kinds of snakes in Afghanistan. There's the rattlesnake and there's the copperhead. Now, we want to point out that copperheads don't like rattlesnakes. Well, who cares? We're talking about a snake pit, aren't we? The remarkable thing about this is that the Biden administration is depending, and it seems to have some confidence in the Taliban. They provided a list of the names of U.S. citizens, green card holders, and Afghan allies to the Taliban. Here's our list. Now, how do they know that this isn't immediately going to be a kill list? Oh yeah, great. We didn't have this list. Thank you very much. I can't believe that this Biden administration is so stupid as to give us not only the names, but as far as they can tell, the locations of all the people. And so there's this level of trust. Well, it's in the Taliban's interest. They want to be members in good standing of the international community. No, they don't. They don't care about that. Their goal is an Islamic caliphate. They couldn't have been more clear about the matter. And then even when Biden, this was a kind of a telling moment in the press conference, he's like, I'm going to run them down. I'm going to hunt them down and make them pay. And he says it with such a ridiculous, first of all, implausible, unbelievable tone of voice that I'm thinking, make them pay. The only kind of pay that you know is to make them pay you with suitcases of cash. I wonder if Biden's thinking, oh yeah, you know what? I wonder if there's some money to be made here. I made money in the Ukraine. I made money in Russia. I made money in China, in Costa Rica. Time to unleash the Biden family. Maybe the smartest guy I know, Hunter Biden, can be my collector. Once again, try to get something out of these guys. Make them pay. That's a language I understand. So what we're dealing with here is disaster on every scale. And for Americans who voted for Biden, all I can say is shame on you, because this guy is turning out to be worse than we thought. Debbie was even joking. She's like, I kind of miss Obama. And I'm thinking, well, don't say that too loudly, because it could very well be Obama who's behind this one too. So we don't miss him too much, more than you know. But these Democrats, from Carter to Clinton to Obama to Biden, one thing they do know how to do is blow up the interests of the United States.